Shabbat Shalom from Marrakesh. We are now in the desert. We just went camel riding and ATV riding. And we wish everyone in Palm Beach and wherever you are a Shabbat Shalom. You know, wherever you are in the world, we all see the same stories. And the story that has captivated everyone this week is the story of the Titan and the 5 passengers who we hoped we would discover alive, but tragically the Titan imploded and they all perished. The Baal Shem Tov says every single thing you see and hear, you have to learn a lesson in life. And I was thinking about this tragic story, but I think there are 3 lessons we could all learn. The first lesson is from what I overheard the experts talking about how the Titan imploded. And they said that likely it was the smallest puncture. They actually said the size of a prick of a needle that led to tremendous pressure entering the capsule, which caused it to implode. And it reminded me of what our rabbis say. Our rabbis say that God says to every one of us, Pischuli, open up an opening for me, kichudo shel machab, like the prick needle of a needle, the size of a needle. And I will expand that opening to the width of a grand ballroom. And if in the world, a small hole of a needle can cause such catastrophic effects in the realm of goodness, when we open up a little window like the size of a needle for God, the pressure of holiness and goodness and righteousness can flood in and can create such a explosion of goodness, a magnitude that we can never even begin to fathom. The second lesson we can learn from this Titan occurrence is that these individuals paid $250,000 to go down and see the actual Titanic wreckage. You could see pictures of it, you could see videos of it, but they wanted to see it with their own eyes. And this is something very important as well. In Judaism, it's not enough to hear. We have to see Yiddishkeit with our own eyes. We have to expose our children and give them the physical experiences of being a Jew, to come to shul, to sit at a Shabbos table, to hear the Kiddush and see a Shabbat table, to see their mother lighting Shabbat candles, to see their father putting on tefillin, to see a mezuzah on their doorpost. It's not enough to hear and to learn and to study, but it has to be seen with our physical eyes. It's those physical experiences and memories that have the greatest impact. And finally, a third lesson that we could learn. In Kabbalah, when it talks about the soul descending into this world, it talks about a soul going from the greatest heights to the lowest depths. You know, this Titan went down 13,000 feet below sea level. Imagine, the Empire State Building is only 1,200 feet. And this is 13,000. And when you go down that deep, it is black, it is pitch dark, and it is freezing cold. The difference between a submarine and the Titan, which is known as a submergible, is that a submarine has its own power. It could launch and come back up on its own accord. However, a submergible like the Titan needs to be launched by a mother ship, and it needs to be brought back up by a mother ship. And so too, when our souls are submerged into this world, which can be a cold, dark, harsh, difficult place to exist, the only way it can remain connected is through the mothership, through our connection of our soul in this world with Almighty God on high. It is only when we don't lose communication that we can survive and endure and be able to return after a successful mission of 120 years. Just like the Titan had to remain in contact, and the minute it lost contact, it was doomed. So too, if we lose our spiritual connection on high, like the Titan, we cannot navigate and we cannot emerge successfully. One of the tragic ironies of this story was that the CEO of the Titan company was a fellow by the name of Stockton Rush, and his wife is a great-grandchild of Isidore and Ida Strauss, who perished on the Titanic. If you saw the movie Titanic, it was that couple who he was offered a life vest, but he refused to go with, she was offered a life vest, but she refused to go without her husband. And they chose to die together in their bed, embracing one another. Their great-granddaughter is married, the widow now, of Stockton Rush. But there's a fascinating story. Isidore and Nathan Strauss were brothers who owned Macy's department stores. And in 1912, they went on a trip to Europe. And Nathan said, let me go over to Palestine to see how the Jews, our fellow Jews, are doing in Palestine. And he saw the tremendous need in the country and the poverty. And he went from one place to the other, giving charity, helping one another, helping the Jews there get established. And his brother Isidore said, you need to hurry back. We're sailing out from Southampton, England, on a new maiden voyage of an amazing ship that we have first-class tickets on, the Titanic. And Nathan said, I'm busy here, I got more to do, give me some time. And Isidore kept on sending telegrams to his brother Nathan, you need to come right now, it's getting late, you're going to miss the ship. And he kept on saying, there's so much more to see, so much more to do. And ultimately the ship sailed with Isidore and Ida, but Nathan and his wife didn't make it in time. They missed the boat, but they survived the tragedy of the Titanic. And Nathan was so inspired by the close call and how his life was spared that he decided to devote the rest of his life to building up the state of Israel, Palestine, which is now Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. And a matter of fact, the city of Netanya is named after Nathan Strauss, Netanya, until this very day. And I think all three lessons are encapsulated in this story. The first lesson is that a little good step, a little good deed could lead to rushing waters of goodness. Nathan started with a visit to help out here, help out there, but one thing led to another, and before you know it, he was helping schools and hospitals and institutions until ultimately he founded the city of Netanya. And then, of course, the next lesson, that you have to see things with your own eyes. Isidore said to Nathan, just come back, you'll send charity overseas, you don't have to stay. And Nathan said, no, I need to see it with my own eyes. I need to see the plight of my brethren, because seeing is believing. Seeing is, when it comes to charity, it's not enough to help others. You have to see their plight to really care about them. And ultimately, the third lesson, that we always have to remain connected on high. Nathan understood that this was a message from God, that God spared him for a reason, for a destiny, for a purpose. And rather than just live out his life without a sense of purpose and mission, he devoted his life to the very reason his life was saved, to helping his brethren in the land of Israel. We shouldn't know from such tragedies, but everything we see is a lesson. Let us take this lesson with us, and may we be inspired to live holier, deeper, more elevated, spiritual, purposeful, and meaningful lives. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Wishing you the best and the warmest blessings from Marrakesh.